Hi everybody, my name is Hans Hohenner and I'm sitting here today with Patrick Ramsire, and we're both systems engineers here at Keysight and Ixia. Today Patrick is going to walk us through on how, what a bypass switch is and how to configure it. So Patrick, can you tell me more about what a bypass switch is?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Hans. Most of my customers use the bypass switches because they have inline tools such as firewalls, IPSs, WAFs, etc. that if in case they go down or need to be brought down for upgrades, they would actually bring down your network. And that's really what a bypass switch is about, is to keep the network traffic flowing even if your tools cannot be reached for whatever reason. So if you look at this, and we're here in the dashboard of the VHD, so you have 3 different modules in this VHD, which stands for very high density. So you have module A, B, and C. Each of them has 16 ports that divided up into 8 network ports and 8 tool ports. And really what you're doing is you hook your network into the network ports, so an in and an out, and then your tool ports into the tool ports, which means you either send traffic to a packet broker or direct it to a firewall IPS. So in case you need to bring it down, the network ports still can communicate with each other. So this is for inline tools, and what that means really is that traffic has to flow through these tools. It's not a typical packet broker where you copy the traffic over. It's actually flowing through these tools. So that's why it's much more important to have a bypass, which allows you to do high availability and high resiliency when it comes to networking.
And so this is for customers that would be using inline tools where that tool would be trying to modify or maybe even block the data possibly, rather than, like you say, an out-of-band tool that is just passively watching the data.
Yeah, think IPS versus IDS, right? Where you have IPS, you want to take an action, where IDS, you get a copy and somebody then gets a report saying, hey, we saw the following things, or you probably should go back and change the firewall policy or something like that in order to protect yourself from future issues.
Wonderful. So you said I could get this configured in less than a minute.
Yeah, so you can literally get this configured in less than a minute, and I'm going to walk you through this here real quick. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, if you could go and click on Configuration and click on Link Fault Detect.
Okay, so I'll click on that.
Yep. And once that comes up, all you do is you click on all the A ports in this case, or you can click on all of them and enable that.
So I'm working on ports A1 and A2. That's what I got cabled up, so I'll enable
Correct.
That one.
Perfect.
And this is link fault detection, so it instructs or tells the neighboring devices, like my switches or routers, that the link went down so that they know to also pull the port down on their side and allow the network to reconverge.
Correct. That's really what this is about. It's about telling the network that they need to send the traffic somewhere else.
And this is like in any sort of a fault condition, so this is kind of a precursor for the actual config. Okay.
Correct. So we can now go down to presets.
Okay,
also
so
on the
presets.
configuration, click on A.
Okay.
In this case, we're going to do a bypass standalone because we only have ports A and A1 and A2. You click on that.
Okay.
And now you can save that.
Okay, we'll save those. And I'll hit OK here.
Yep. And then you're going to go to diagram.
And wow, look at that, everybody. Just for your benefit, I mean, none of this configuration was populated before I did this. This was a virgin config.
Correct. The only thing that was pre-done is the network connectivity on the ports was cable.
Yes, and we did that before. Yes.
So if you look at the first bypass switch 1, you can see that the traffic is actually flowing. On the subsequent bypass switches, you can see that the bypass is on and that the heart on the right-hand side is broken. So really what this illustrates is that you had a tool that was hooked up, but it can no longer talk to it, so the heart is broken. So the bypass switch sends out heartbeats at a predetermined interval that says, hey, are you there? Are you good? Everything going well? And as soon as that goes, you know what, I can no longer talk to the inline tool, that heartbeat gets broken and the bypass switch actually turns on. And Hans, what I would like you to do is, just to illustrate how quickly that happens, if you could disconnect one of the cables that goes to the inline tool on the A1, A2.
Okay, I'm going to pull that cable out right now. And there it went down. So I was just watching a timer. That happened in less than 5 seconds.
Correct. It's very, very quick. It happens incredibly quick. And as soon as you plug that cable back in, it will come up in a very short period of time again.
So I'm going to plug that cable in now.
Yep.
There, it gets seated. And there it's back up. That was about 10 seconds, or less than 10 seconds. That's very, very fast.
Yep. And that's really what these bypass switches are known for, right? To do this very quickly and to make sure that traffic flows. And what the bypass really means is, instead of sending it from A1 to A9 to the inline tool, it's just going to send it straight directly to A2 out the other side of the network. So again, bypassing this entire tool chain, if you will.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Patrick. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.